872 pages we'll never get back. I am Michael J. Nelson, joined by Connor Listoka. How are you, Connor?
I'm good, Mike. It's about to be...
my tone seems sober. It's probably because this book takes on such big and sober ideas that there's no way to laugh. There's nothing funny about this at all.
Yes, you just sort of have to take your glasses off like Walter Cronkite and just sit, contemplate, watch the sun go down, and let the ideas rest upon your shoulders, their weighty burden. Be glad that you were not the one who had to convey them to the world.
That's true. It's true. I carry a heavy load. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. No, here's my question about this book is insane. We're in the middle of a book called Empress Theresa. Well, middle. We're nearing. We're getting towards the end. It's very, very long. Now, as I read it, this book is obviously insanity. Mm-hmm. It is you're seeing inside the mind of someone who, as I told you yesterday offline, like, thank goodness he's not, abducting people and doesn't put them in a well and tell them to put lotion on their skin or whatever. Instead, he's writing a book, probably. So we should probably be thankful for that. But here's my question. It's so long and everything, and it's so, like, what is the motor that keeps this guy going? Because you're a writer, right? You've abandoned projects, I'm guessing. You don't always finish what you're like, well, this doesn't really... I thought I could write my way into it. It's not working out. I'm leaving it behind, right? Yes. Why does this guy keep going on this? Like, what is... He looks back at what he's done and is like, I'm on to something here. God, like, why don't you just stop writing? Like, look, no one's going to read it. And if they do, they're going to recognize it for the absolute vomit that it is. So what is motivating him to continue? Especially since I don't even understand what he's saying.
Right, because there's obviously no intended audience for this thing. In theory, I bet Larry and Denise Ellis, they at least thought, hey, we're writing a book about 13-year-olds going into a mystery world just like Harry Potter. In their deluded mind, this could be the next Harry Potter because teenagers love to read books about teenagers having adventures. This... I think the answer to your question is simple enough, and I think it's to show them all. I'll show them. I'll show them all. And
they laughed at me back at at the academy. They laughed at my ideas, but now who's laughing?
Exactly. Maybe he left a writer's workshop at the public library 15 years before he wrote this, where everyone laughed at him, and he walked out clenching his fists and saying, fools, fools, they're all fools. And so this was his attempt to show them all. He's probably walking around his small New England town, sort of like Travis Bickle, and his book is the real rain that's going to come and wash all the filth away. But more likely, he's a old man watching cable news and then just reacting to, well, if I was in charge, I'd show them all, and this is how I do things. But filtered through an 18-year-old girl with extraterrestrial superpowers, which confuses the whole issue more. But I don't know why he kept writing. More people obviously read it than he ever thought would. But just like The Room, more people have seen that than ever should have, but just to laugh at it.
Yeah, I guess so. I do wonder at his own garage, like, what is he doing with that plywood? 'Cause we have no idea what is happening with the plywood in this thing. And so that obviously is a big part of his life. Write what you know. Well, I know plywood. What is he doing with the plywood? What is
Across
that?
The street. Looks like old Norman's bringing more plywood into his garage. You know what they say. Real what's he building in there situation.
What's he building in there?
They're like, oh, I thought it was just going to be I thought he was going to be like that guy that took the tank out on the 5 in San Diego. This is much worse.
So I'll catch you up on the plot as I understand it, and you obviously correct me and throw in. A young lady, a very bright young lady, is visited by a fox who implants some sort of power inside of her. We're a little unclear, but she names it HAL after the computer in 2001. True. And it gives her certain powers, she has a POV video game target in the middle of her eyesight at all times, right? We seem to have forgotten about that.
It's paid off quite a bit.
Which enables her to throw a baseball at 90 plus miles an hour, I believe. Yeah, so she dominates her high school
super strength.
And so I don't know, does she get a scholarship to BC?
Oh, I forget whether that was mentioned. But
she goes to Boston College, and she gets through, I don't know, 2 trimesters or whatever they do there. And then they try to kill her because the government is onto her. They know she's got this fox extraterrestrial. We don't know if it's extraterrestrial. We think it may have just evolved, I think, is one of the theories. But that it evolved also on other planets.
Around and some of them got stuck on planets without suns or something.
Okay, there's a bunch of hells. Anyway, the United States tries to kill her by putting her up in an automated plane, or a plane with no pilot, and blowing her up with an atom bomb. But she escapes by stuffing empty Coke bottles in her suit and falling several miles from space or something.
10 or 12, I think.
And surviving. But when she gets back, she's rescued by the British government. She becomes friends with Prime Minister Blair.
Yep, there we go. Historical figure, Prime Minister
Blair. This is not Tony Blair. This is Peter Blair? Is that
Peter Blair.
Peter Blair. And he just kind of pals around with her. Oh, I forgot. She marries one of her college mates, a fellow named Steve Hartley. Mm-hmm. And Steve Hartley becomes her soulmate. They're married, so, and they live in a mansion in England that is at all times surrounded by thousands of soldiers who guard her because the wind went. I'm sorry, I'm telling you so bad.
It's like recounting a night out that lasted till 3 a.m. Being like, oh man, I forgot about the time the cops chased us. Yeah.
So she's learning to control the power that she has within her, which is very, very unclear, at least to me, reading the book. I don't know what powers it, but somehow it's like raising land masses seems to be her number one thing. And she trains the power inside of her, which is a separate entity, I guess, by using pieces of plywood and clocks written on them, sort of like clock-like things. Mm-hmm. And then that's how she trains this power to raise land masses or water masses up into the air. I think I've made that pretty clear. I don't know. There's no questions, right?
Yeah, no. I don't even know why we bothered analyzing this guy's psyche in the beginning of this. That's very clear to me what's going on.
Sure.
Okay. Lots of water pillars. That was a primary focus of the last section we read.
Yeah. Some go up 100 miles. Some go up a mile. Some go 10 miles. Something like that. Yes. Anyway, that's where we are now. And, she's brokered something with OPEC. OPEC has a lot of terrorists, and these terrorists are probably going to target Israel. So the Prime Minister of Israel, Prime Minister Scherzer, says, let's just make a new Israel. Like, you can do that, right? She's like, sure, no problem. So literally on the back of a napkin, I believe, he just sketches out the new Israel.
He did, and they were like, "What about an airport here? Like that sounds good. Yeah, hey, what about a Hilton with a outdoor water park? One of those water slides that goes outdoors and then back indoors." He's like, "That sounds all right. Yeah,
sure."
Oops, spilled my drink on the napkin. Let's start over.
So that's in the works, and also I don't remember what the thing with OPEC is, but OPEC is. Everyone wants to kill her, so that's another thing. So that's why there's thousands of soldiers in the woods. And she's the only one that can save the world. I forgot to mention the world is in its death throes. The world has has at most 1,000 days or something before they all starve to death because there's no wind. Anyway, something with the water pillars was supposed to, I guess it solved that. I thought she was just like messing around with water pillars, but I guess it solved the problem. Oh, and she switched the tilt of the Earth.
Oh, right. She put the Earth on a different axis to eliminate winter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I hope that's all clear. So anyway, we're at chapter 19.
It's like asking me, what did you do yesterday? And I forget to tell you, oh, yeah, then I walked around for 5 minutes looking for my keys. These details just sort of like, you forget you leave out the unimportant stuff, like tilting the earth on its axis.
Right.
It would be, if the Drunk History show was still around, to have them just recreate what had just happened there. It would have been a nice way to spend 7 minutes seeing that recreated. So this ended with the meeting with Prime Minister Scherzer you described, and that's where the last section ended. So this new section starts with him coming back out and telling the Israeli citizens that they've solved this problem. They're going to have a new Israel, and he says that those who challenge Theresa Hartley's powers are fools. She could destroy the world. Don't push her too far. And just when the leader of your nation comes out and says that to you and being like, obey this person, you've got to question their judgment. I would say, like, so you've just brokered a deal with this person.
It's very funny that she says he's normally like he's pretty staid and pretty serious dude, but he allowed himself to emote in this instance. My beloved Israelis. Don't you challenge this woman. A little bit of Neville Chamberlain coming back from meeting Hitler in this, I think. Like, hey, I got it done.
Yeah. At least he was like, seems like an okay guy. Seems like a straight shooter. This is like, you're a fool to challenge her. She will crush you in her iron grip. Like, we pledge our allegiance to her.
And then, so the media, obviously there are some questions. Now,
sure,
no reader has any question. This is all crystal clear. But the media, hey, sir, is there a deal for a new Jerusalem? And the response is, the media could go to hell. Blair told reporters, Theresa gave Scherzer everything unconditionally. Scherzer gave Theresa nothing. This is not a deal. Fake news people, shut up. I love that detail. Like, just one small question. Oh, do you have questions? We're making a new Israel. Shut up, you.
Right. And that's not a deal. Theresa gave him everything unconditionally. He gave her, like, okay, sure. Like, but, exchanges were made. We don't have to quibble about what a deal means here. For the guy, he has definitely the author, Theresa, quote, the author clearly has a distaste for the media, and as well as like celebrities, as they but sort of also just humanity in general. There's a section later about just very Travis Bickley about people going about their meaningless lives. It just really comes across as misanthropic. So
and then it gets into she's like, okay, that's just a sideshow. Yeah, I'm going to make a new Israel by pushing up a landmass and taking all of the inhabitants of Israel to Crete. Mm-hmm. I don't really understand what is happening here. That's the plan, right? She's going to
the plan, and that was sort of like the initial plan. Well, so there was never any questioning of that plan. It's just, if I asked you, where do you want to take a vacation to, and you're like, I don't know, Belize, and we never looked up, is that practical? Is there a direct flight? That was the plan. That it is. I looked it up. Israel, just in general, the coast to Crete is like 330 miles as the crow flies.
Okay, so I just guessed, and I thought 500 miles. So okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I looked it up because it seemed like a lot of people were going to be, making the walk. I don't know how they're going to refuel the cars if they did that. It's essentially like, I looked it up, if I left my front door and started walking to Toronto.
Okay. And is she going to make a land bridge, or is she going to like put them on a chunk of land and then kind of the land kind of cruises through the water? Kind of a thing. I don't know what her powers are, so I don't really understand.
I believe it's a land bridge. It's a big causeway that goes there.
And they're going to walk to it.
Descriptions. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, those who don't have cars, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah, the elderly, the infirm, unclear about what. But again, 330
so
is probably.
That's the plan. But then she just takes this sidetrack and she goes, my Antarctica project took longer than expected. Remind me what that was. What was the Antarctica project?
She does have a lot of balls in the air, and I believe this is the one that is meant to deal with the cartel of OPEC, who she pretty much equates with terrorists, which you can read between the lines there. But I think she's raising this land in Antarctica, between Antarctica and Africa, to make her new. I think they just start calling it Theresa's Island or something like that, and that's going to be where she's determined there's this oil-rich land beneath there. So in order to deal with OPEC, she's starting her own oil business, essentially. I don't think that's explained very well in the moment. I think that's what later we're revealed.
Yeah, we're told that. But okay, but it had existed. There was already an Antarctica project.
Yes, remember, because she was like, if those fools don't leave their research stations, we were like, why are they still in their research stations? They should be at home, fighting over the last thing of broccoli in the grocery store. Everyone's going to die in 3 months. So
yeah, no, they were just hanging out at the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. 150 scientists were just hanging out there. So, if you got news that, look, the world, we're all going to die. We can't send you food. You're on your own there. I know you can't make your own food. At least you could, they probably have they grow their own herbs or something under a blue light or whatever.
Sure, they're drinking recycled urine. And
right, but 150 of them are like, now stick it out here. That's fine. Do you want to go back with your family? I see no reason off the top of my head to do that. So she does that. But then she says I found this very curious. This is that weird thing of, we said unlikable characters is what somebody said in the Amazon reviews. You would think they would love what I was doing in Antarctica and appreciate everything I had done to save their lives. Nope, all forgotten. Why would you think this? You caused, you're the reason Earth has only a limited amount of time left. Why do you think people would like you? What are you talking about?
Also, just the average person out there, sort of, if you're just walking down the street, you glance at a TV, you have absolutely no idea what's going on in the world. You see Theresa's raising land in Antarctica. You're not going to have any context for why is she doing that? You don't even for them to then you just want praise, being like, thank you for raising that land. No one knows why this is happening. We're reading the book and we don't even know why it's happening.
It's like a Bond villain suddenly going like, oh, they're not appreciating the fact that my death ray just, eliminated a city. Why would you think we would appreciate that?
Speaking of that, she has a very Bond villainous quote, how quickly people forgot my benevolence when fear took control of them. I mean, any given Bond villain could be saying that. Ming the Merciless or Lex Luthor. Yeah,
we should acquire quotes and do Stalin or Theresa Hartley. One death is a tragedy, a million is a statistic.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and then this is extremely revolting. She says, the president calls her, the new president of America.
President Stinson. Tommy Stinson, yes.
Very confusing, by the way, when Arthur the butler comes up to tell her, and Arthur came over and announced, this honestly stopped me for 5 minutes going, what is going on? President Stinson calls Madam Hartley. I'm like, what does that mean? He forgot a comma. It's President Stinson calls Madam Hartley. I'm like, what is President Stinson calls Madam? And he's saying that? To whom is he saying that? It's like, he forgot a comma. President Stinson calls Madam Hartley. And she says...
He's been through a lot. He's gone to the hardware store with Steve. This is beyond his duties as a mere butler.
That's true. She says, because Hartley is acting strangely, I guess, holy smokes, Batman, was she worked up? They had to be pelting her with crap over there. Just absolutely revolting that this, again, 18-year-old married BC, not even a BC graduate, who throws up pillars of water would say, holy smokes, Batman. Oh, God.
I don't know. I bet Steve was one of those guys that was like, arguing about whether The Dark Knight was the greatest movie of all time on IMDb when it came out. That seems to be up his alley.
It does.
He's downvoting Seven and upvoting Dark Knight.
That's why when he goes off to the computer, doesn't he log on and does computer research?
He goes up to
That's
research.
what he's doing.
Oh, man. Curacao was inching back into the top 25. We got to upvote Dunkirk so we can knock him out. Steve announced he was going to write a book. Yeah, the prime minister will order soldiers and anti-aircraft weapons moved up to the house. I looked at Steve, who was equally amazed. I'm going to write a book, he said. I just imagine him being very upset when he learned the name Private Parts was already taken for his book. No, I don't think he proceeds with that. I would have loved it if that became the rest of the book, if it had like Stephen King where the excerpts from the book started appearing in the book, but alas.
But she comes back after talking to the president and says this bit of Marvel humor. That went well, I said sarcastically.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So I don't understand. They're going to put troops. We need troops now because I'm doing this new thing, the Antarctica Project. She already has thousands of soldiers like hanging out in the yard, right?
There were thousands of troops, yes, and she's doing two things at once. She's raising pillars, as obviously, but she's also installing sort of a bathtub drain. I guess that's the Atlantic rose 5 feet, and then the Pacific dropped a foot at some point in time, and I think that's all in the service of raising the ocean floor between Africa and Antarctica. And I don't know why that necessarily warranted more soldiers at that exact moment.
So what was very funny about this whole scene is this whole scene goes on with Arthur coming over and going, the president's on the line for you. Steve's going to write a book, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff happens. And then says, eyebrows were raised all over the room. And I was like, wait, how many eyebrows are there? The whole family is just sitting there. The Parker family is in the room with her. She says it like 13 paragraphs before. We sat down with the entire Parker family. Oh, wow. So they're just sitting there. They're not saying anything. They're not contributing. She's just coming in and going, that went well. And they're like, mm-hmm.
Oh, your chat with the president. Oh, is that what you were talking? Great. Yeah.
So they're just sitting there. So no word on what they're doing. I suppose there's the kid who's like 9. He's probably playing with a toy truck or something. The older boy is probably on his phone scanning something. I don't know. Swiping right. I don't know what's going on, but they're all just sitting there.
The Parker family is much put upon throughout this. At some point in time, they later mentioned the children, and I was like, "Have the children been mentioned yet?" Their names have been mentioned twice in this, and they're just sort of there, I guess, going about their lives, waiting for this couple to get the plywood out of their rumpus room or something.
By dawn's early light, they'd set up the soldiers and everything. Gatling guns and small anti-aircraft missiles on all 4 sides of the house. Gatling guns? How old is this author?
Those are trench warfare?
I mean, they were cowboy movies is what I attribute them to. Used first maybe in the Civil War?
Civil War.
But they haven't called them Gatling guns since then. The principle is kind of, but they're Gatling guns?
I always thought that was like weapon number 4 in Doom was the one that rotates like that, maybe? Like
that's a minigun, yeah. That's a totally different thing. But anyway, Gatling guns.
Well, obviously, this guy has read lengthy tomes about the Civil War and has opinions about that, so maybe that just sort of infiltrated his worldview for here.
I'm sure he does.
So, is this where they call in Blair again, and she provides him with just a new industry for England? That's on the way. So they call in Prime Minister Blair, who just has to be, if the Parker family is tired, Prime Minister Blair just has to be like, oh, can't I just resign? But she says that she's going to, because she brought in a bunch of silver last time and said this is going to be a big boom to the UK's silversmithing industry. She also brought in
she's going to give silver coins to every person in the world, I think.
Yeah,
and
it was going to become like
improve the economy,
a universal currency.
Yes.
Now she's saying, I'll dump a pile of diamonds in England, because she's going to make a a diamond ring, like a ring or a band of diamonds in the sky, the purpose of that is to then reflect light, making it permanently daylight. I'm unclear about whether just on the land bridge from Israel to Crete or everywhere.
No, it says everywhere, like people. Okay. I think everyone was excited. She says everyone. Everyone
was excited about the permanent daylight.
She's doing this on the, I have a question, the Ross ice shelf. Did that make an appearance in, was it Digital Fortress or one of those books?
It could have been, or in The Thing. It might have. I mean, Digital Fortress was the Antarctic one. I thought Digital Fortress was in the North Pole.
Oh, okay.
So maybe not, but it's
okay, the Ross ice shelf. All right. So yeah, the Digital Fortress had nothing to do with the Amundsen. What is it?
The base? No, that's probably like, the equivalent of where The Thing happened.
Yes, it's directly on the South Pole. Okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, so she's making diamonds, and I believe the entire world is getting the light. So it's daylight at all times.
So summer all the time, daylight at all times. Yes. You're a big anti-daylight savings time guy, so you're well aware that they say you change your clocks back. Kids learning suffers, traffic accidents increase, your pets misbehave. It has massive effects, negative effects for everybody. So this is just going to be like this is what they do to torture prisoners, essentially. Or that movie with Al Pacino, another Christopher Nolan movie.
That's Christopher Nolan. Daylight. I was going to say, it's always daylight, and he goes mad, right?
So, but a side effect of that, a positive side effect for everybody, is that there's going to be a lot more diamonds. I'll dump a pile of diamonds in England. You'll all go into the diamond cutting business. I can see it now. We'll walk into McDonald's, and teenage girls are wearing diamond necklaces and tiaras with real diamonds. It will provide thousands of diamonds. Oh, yeah. Wait. Blair's eyes were wide open after she says there'll be teenage girls with tiaras with real diamonds in McDonald's. Yes. Blair's eyes were wide open.
Yeah.
Then he became emotional and had to clear his throat. Apparently, he'd finally understood what Steve had said. Thank you. You have no idea what this will mean to Israel and England. It will provide thousands of diamond cutting jobs for our people. At least 50,000, I would say. So, again, just a colossal misunderstanding of the laws of supply and demand, of the desirability of diamonds once everyone can wear them in tiaras to McDonald's, of the amount of diamond cutting jobs that normal people will want to take in England. I imagine those are industrial, tedious jobs.
So you're at the neighborhood party with this author, Norman Bouton, is that his name?
Yeah.
And you're just like, hey, everyone's going out. We're having a flamingo party on the Johnson's driveway at 4, and then he comes out, and then you're talking to him like, oh, you live in that little house over there, right? Yeah,
the Plywood house. And
all of a sudden he starts going on about diamond cutters. You're like, I'm gonna go grab some dip. I think. What? 50,000 diamond cutters. This is like in his brain somewhere. Like that would solve everything. That's the big problem. What? I'm sorry, I'm not trying. There's not enough diamond. Exactly, right? I'm gonna get an ice cream sandwich. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
would you go back in his history and his grandfather was laid off as a diamond cutter, and then that threw the family into 3 decades of hardship or something, and there's been resentment about that ever since? Who knows?
Know. But this is part of the plan. So if that's unclear, this will clear everything up.
Okay.
Theresa bought an office building in New York next to Central Park. Jan Struthers is setting up businesses there. If anyone wants to make a deal drilling on Theresa's island or just want to buy the oil, they can contact Jan Struthers. So I hope that makes everything. So that's part of her plan. Is that she buys an office building in New York to house one person, Jan Struthers, to sell her oil business on her new island that she's raising.
So yeah, Jan Struthers is going to be cutting deals with head of the UAE. She's going to be cutting deals with the head of Exxon. We know that she had fallen on hard times and was living with her parents, but I guess she's up for that task.
This is utter madness at this point. So you're reading it going like, I don't know what is important to read. And then you read the next thing and it's like, okay, she made a mountain. I guess I should probably read that. What? It
gives you enormous concepts like raising the Atlantic Ocean 5 feet, which from everything I've been told, that would result in mass casualties at shorelines. Like that would just be the end of many coastal communities. But then it gives you something like, oh, if we're going to make this land bridge, if they're going to leave in 3 weeks, I better raise it now. That will give the mud enough time to dry out because they can't have them walking or driving across a muddy land bridge. So he fixes on little details like that while ignoring the massive questions about the diamond market that she's creating.
Oh, and it's permanent daylight. She says, Scherzer just asked, could you raise the thing to get the mud time to dry out and harden? And she says, sure, I can do it in 3 weeks. Soon enough? Yes, it will take Israel's enemies much longer to prepare an attack. We detect no preparation. So, I mean, this is all pretty much easy peasy stuff. Like, It's like as if the founding fathers were just like, do you want to, I don't know, like write a constitution or whatever. Like on Tuesday, I'm free. Do you want to do it then? Or I don't know.
Got it. King George. We don't anticipate any red coat activity. That's the thing about terrorists. You're always aware of when they're going to strike. That's the way they operate. They give you a big heads up before they attack your land bridge.
But his economics are spot on. Then if there did turn out to be a lot of oil there on Theresa's island, I could drop the price to $10 a barrel and OPEC would be out of business. Their wells were too expensive to drill and maintain at that price and still make a profit. So she's doing kind of a loss leader thing with her oil on the island that she hasn't yet made, but she's going to make if her plywood holds out or whatever.
You mean like how Costco sells the chicken for $5, hopes that you'll buy something else when you
They put it at the back of the store and sell the chicken. She's doing that with the oil. Like she has no idea how much it's going to take to get the oil out of the ground. She just like, how to sell it for $10 a barrel. Take that, OPEC.
Jan Struthers is crunching the numbers. We're gonna figure this all out. But 10, it's a nice round even number. I'm a fan of it.
That is true.
While you're here to buy a $5 roast chicken and a $10 bottle of oil, help yourself to a scoop of diamonds. We'll weigh them on the way out. We've got bulk barrels.
I'll take your diamonds, but I'm not paying that diamond cutter. Damn it! That ruins our whole plan.
Yes, we've laid off 2,000 diamond cutters today. Tragic news. We're only employing 48,000 at this point in time. The economy is rocked. So the whole I think this chapter ends with her Exxon is setting up a drilling operation quite fast. They're able to throw that into production and just yes, her island that was raised, there is a ton of oil there, just as he predicted. And on paper, I was a multi-trillionaire. I was still 18. At some point, Blair's got to be like, so the tax issue, you did earn all this money here, and while those 50,000 diamond mining jobs are great, what would be great is, some of those trillions of pounds you've earned living in the Parker's house.
Well, that's right. She's just crashing at the Parkers, who just like kind of hang out in the living room while she's making her next trillions. That ends with, as for OPEC, because you were wondering, what about OPEC? Steve and Parker were watching me innocently hand-feeding my innocent little chipmunks.
The chipmunks? As for OPEC, that's a good way to describe what OPEC is up to.
It ends with another Andy Rooney thing. As for OPEC, I was innocently feeding my little hand feeding my chipmunks. What?
I hope that's not the last we hear about the chipmunks.
Yes.
Steve is definitely on like expat forums being like, no, babe, all we got to do is we take like a visa vacation every 3 weeks. As long as we leave the country every 3 weeks, we don't have to pay any taxes.
You trust your mom? We could give her $20 trillion and then she could give it back to us, and there's no tax on that. Especially if we hang a flag upside down outside of the Parker's house.
Yeah. Steve's entering sovereign citizen territory. I'm a traveler. I'm not a driver.
Wow. And then Steve says, Steve told Parker. Parker is the head of the household, right?
Mr. Yeah, what's the butler's name?
Arthur.
Okay, yes, Mr. Parker, I guess.
Arthur works for the Parkers, the Parker family.
Yep.
And she's just hanging out at this house. There literally is no reason why she's hanging out at the Parker house. She's, as we know, she's a multi-trillionaire. She's 18 years old. They tried to blackmail something out of Theresa. I guess that's OPEC. They're guilty of criminal stupidity. It's their fault they're going to lose everything. It's incredible how stupid people are. So there's the author like peeking out from behind the... Yeah, it's incredible how stupid people are. Oh, that guy's coming to our party. Oh, I hate that guy.
There's a thesis for you right there. Yeah. People smell bad, too. I'll show them all.
I don't like taking my shoes off either when I go to a house. I don't care what color your carpet is.
Just an unpleasant man. Chapter 20. 3 very busy weeks had passed, and it was time to raise the land bridge to Crete. It was going to be a mile wide. 620 miles long. That's twice as big as what I looked up. Jeez, they must be going to the far end of Crete.
Okay.
And so I guess they break the news to all of Israel. Unclear how this went, because obviously a fascinating experiment in terms of like, okay, people, hear me out. We know you're, to put it lightly, fairly attached to this land, but so she says, some of the Israelis cheered, others weren't so happy. Not all of them wanted to leave, no matter what the OPEC situation descended to. Yeah, well, when they saw a gun pointing at their children's head, they would change their minds. Who's going to be pointing the guns here? Steve?
It's so weird how she sometimes is like, I am the most benevolent angel, Mother Teresa mixed with, I don't know, whatever.
Albert Schweitzer.
Schweitzer, like saintly. Obviously, like, her face is seen in tortillas in Mexico and stuff like that. And then in the next second, she's like, I'll kill them all. Honest to God, I'll grind their bones to make my bread.
Yes.
She's like, what?
Do not trifle with me, mortal.
Yes.
She hasn't called anyone mortals yet, I guess, but seems like she's on the verge. Yeah, bizarre.
So she's going to raise this land bridge, and she says this. This might be going back a little bit. Have you seen those films where divers retrieve ancient Greek treasures from sunken ships? I guess I haven't seen those films. I've seen James Cameron go down to the Titanic. Is that kind of what that is like? What films are you talking about?
History Channel shows that air at 2 a.m., I'm guessing.
Those films. I don't know. I watch TMC quite a bit. I don't see those. But...
and there's a lot more back and forth about blah, 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 Congress, something about President Franklin Roosevelt, etc. But I think where it ends up is her going to Geneva to negotiate with Saudi Arabia. And
yes, that's when she slaps the pictures down.
Yeah. What was that? Steve carries in a large manila envelope to this thing, which I had just imagined he had just JPEGs of Shannon Elizabeth inside of it or something. But and I think there's a Swedish or Swiss moderator.
Yeah, the Swiss moderator works for them. So this is what do you call that when you have a moderator instead of going to court or whatever? Instead of having mediation. A war, you're going to enter mediation, and so this Swiss woman is mediating. I slid a picture of the desert towards the Swiss woman to pass to the Saudi. The table was 6 feet wide, and I didn't want to make paper airplanes. I assume that's supposed to be like a hard-bitten detective kind of language there, 30s.
Wow.
The dame came in. I didn't want to make paper airplanes with this dame. The Saudi glanced at the picture. The desert of Libya, I said, passing another picture. The desert of Egypt. The desert of Iraq. The desert of Iran. The worst of all, your own Saudi Arabian desert. Not even bacteria grow there. The Saudis like, don't speak English, so whatever you're doing.
Yes. He's looking at the Swiss moderator. Can you catch me up here? I'm hearing Iraq.
What is she? Yeah, I'm seeing pictures of deserts. They're not very good, by the way. It looks like Steve took them.
Yeah, they're the Wikipedia pictures, so they have to be really low res in order for you to be able to use them. Here's a picture of St. Elizabeth at Comic-Con. How'd that get in there?
Comic-Con thing is in the background. And it's all blurry, taken by a telephoto from.
She's mid-blink. Yeah, she has utter disdain for this process, and the Swiss moderator, the neutral Swiss official there was to protect my virtue or something. That's where the Saudi and I would sit. I guess if we started throwing knives at each other, the Swiss woman was supposed to throw her body between us. But the whole reason she's passing these envelopes back and forth is because I don't know if this pays off because it doesn't in this section. She then passes pictures of the French Alps, the Swiss Alps, Austrian mountains, beautiful pictures of Germany, and she's like, the reason you've got these gross deserts that not even bacteria can grow in, and these European countries have these beautiful scenic hills is because like the mountains affect your climates. And so I don't know if she's saying she can help them by raising things, or like they're like, I don't know, we're doing okay. We've gotten used to it over millennia, but she's making a very odd point to them.
Also, a pretty harsh assessment of the desert, right? I mean, isn't the desert is teeming with life? Is it?
Oh man, I looked up. I forget what the one desert she saw. There's one desert by name. I looked it up, and it looks like when you picture a desert, it's what it looks like, just dunes, and I don't think you'd want to spend too much time there.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, you can't build houses in it. Fair enough. Here's a weird passage in a obviously extremely weird book. I don't get this. I think she's talking after this meeting with the Swiss and the Saudis. I can give him France. He can't risk losing that. Interesting he didn't say anything, and these are unattributed, so I don't know who's speaking here. But each one is a different person speaking. He got the message. I could see it in his eyes. The message is, I can raise land and I can lower it too. So this is Theresa. Look what I did in Antarctica. Blair rolled his eyes. No wonder he said nothing. Steve said, isn't she a bitch? We all laughed. I think what she's saying is that they find it funny that she's threatening them, or I guess enticing them with mountains. Like, hey, how would you like your desert to be like France, where you could have like ski hills and, Is that what she's saying? And then they're going like, ain't I a stinker? That kind of a thing? Is that what they're saying? Isn't she a bitch?
I guess so. Maybe he saw like Kelly from The Office when she was the business bitch. That was her. Like, I'm not sure what the bitchy thing was. Probably a couple things ago when you're like, how would they like it when you've got a gun pointed at your kid's head? I bet you'll leave then. Not exactly the sliding photos of German tourist locations across the table. I don't know. Steve, his ways are inscrutable. I think he just wanted to call his wife a bitch.
And so then they put into a place I think this is where they make the diamonds, but because they take carbon from the sun. What was that? The sky spy? Or?
Oh yeah, the Sky Spy. That was
Steve was really concerned about naming it before. And they're like, could you send a probe up to the sun? They're like, yeah.
Let me design a logo first.
And then he goes to one of those AI logo generators and he comes up with Sky Spy or something. So they do that, and they bring down a big a ball of carbon or something that gets to this. The carbon, if that's what it was, arrived from the sun. Again, the passive language. It was an 82-mile-wide red-hot ball. I gently nudged it into orbit 5,000 miles up. Here's the great part. Scientists pointed out that because of the size, it would stay red-hot for centuries. Scientists pointed this out.
Pointing it out.
So they're standing next to her. They're going, that's pretty cool. You got a red-hot ball of carbon there. Yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, it won't cool down for a couple thousand years, but yeah, whatever. I just wanted to point that out.
The same way when you're driving past a field of cows, someone goes, hey, cows. I just point them out.
Yes.
So you bring down 82-mile wide ball, and then you're like uncertain if it's actually carbon. You're just sort of like, yeah, I don't know.
If that's what it was, arrived from the sun. So it's kind of like Amazon. They had to take a picture of the sun. Took a picture of it when he dropped it on Steve's porch. It arrived. Okay. Wow.
Steve's like, hey, let's initiate a return from there, because sometimes when you do a return, they just say you can keep it. You don't even have to give it back. So let's see if we can do that. If they don't make us give it back, then we'll cancel the return.
So this is when she takes the red hot ball of carbon. I'm unclear. Maybe we're skimming. I don't know. You would forgive us if we did. Wildlife, so then it's perpetual day. Wildlife used to settling in at dusk were stirred up by the unexpected light. People living in the country far from city lights were the first to notice the light from the thin diamond stream. So is this a good thing? Do you know what the result of wildlife used to settling in at dusk? Not settling in now because they're confused. The circadian rhythm of every creature on Earth is now changed. This is just an unalloyed good thing to her. Isn't that great? Why aren't people thanking me?
Exactly. Why aren't these mortals bowing down before me?
People are stupid.
I think she is just sort of messing with the sliders on a simulation, essentially, really, like in Roller Coaster Tycoon. You're like, let's increase gravity by 0.3. Oh, the roller coaster crashed and everyone died. I guess I should probably lay off of that one. And that's this to the extreme.
Yeah, so you had the question, was this only in one spot? I don't think so. Here's my evidence for it. Crime would go down as criminals lost the cover of darkness. That's normally how... There's no crimes committed during the day. And then this is the kicker. Everybody was joyful at the prospect, and then missing a word, prospect having 24-hour daylight.
Everyone was joyful.
Everyone was joyful. So there was, me going, I don't know. Hey, shut up, man. Nobody asked you.
Right.
We're all joyful.
Put on your sunglasses and go to sleep.
My kids are still up. It's 4 a.m. I'm joyful.
I think within 48 hours there would just be the road rage alone would fill up hospitals, I'm guessing. But hey, whatever. Where does she say? Puts it in terms of the diamond ring got off many times the light of a full moon. Not enough to play a baseball game without electric lighting, but more than enough to walk around without stumbling on something. So there's your range. Just picture both of those in your mind. That's how much light it was. Friends could easily recognize each other from 100 yards away. It was truly a new world.
That's what I was going to say. That's kind of a. So it was not enough to play a baseball game, but friends could recognize each other from 100 yards away. I've read once field. Yes, I read that snipers and stuff. When you're like, that target is this far away. You're like, I can't see the face. I don't see, and so that means as soon as you can't see the face, that's this many yards. But you can recognize a friend from 100 yards away. I'd say that's pretty bright. And people's eyes are pretty good, right?
It's pretty just a universal thing. Are your eyes blurry because you haven't slept in 72 hours? You're like, hey, there's Larry. He's putting a gun in his mouth because he's so disrupted from this whole thing. I recognize him anywhere.
Hey, there's Al Pacino. He can't solve that case. He's going crazy.
And then, I mean, I might blame this on the permanent daylight, but a boat manned by Exxon with 210,000 tons. Sorry, that's just how much the boat weighs. I don't know why that's important, but it has millions of gallons of crude oil, leaves Theresa's island, goes sailing for New Jersey, and it's rammed by a terrorist ship. The crew of 27,000 men is all killed. And that is the way the chapter ends, is that the terrorists have taken out the first boat that was leaving with oil from her island.
The Exxon Maria, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
A crew of 27 men, so I'm assuming Gordon Lightfoot got to work immediately on that.
Come on, Gordon, it's your time to shine. Yes. Fellas, it's been good to know you.
Yeah. So that's the heat was so intense, other pleasure boats in the vicinity had to back off half a mile. So, a giant tanker fire. Coming from Theresa Island? Is that what
Sure, which is in the middle of nowhere, because nothing used to be there until 3 weeks ago.
And she said when she was making, by the way, that land bridge, she said they had to warn ships not to be in that area. That's a pretty big area, right? 600 miles and then a mile wide of land suddenly appears. I mean, I don't know how many ships there are. Is it like planes in the sky where have you ever seen a map of that? There's just countless thousands of planes in the sky at all times.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming there's ships all over. They're like, what? We have to stay away from this area? That's a major route. We all go through there.
Right, and if there's been one thing that she has not excelled at, it is communicating her plans to people. A lot of these pillars of water and land masses start rising without any warning to people. So, shipping routes, as we've all learned in the past couple months, are incredibly well trafficked. So who knows who's communicating to all these captains of various languages and ethnicities? Like. Right. You got to not there, because there's going to be a land bridge coming up, and you're not going to be able to get where you're going if you're not there. I guess maybe union.
It's going to be muddy for 3 weeks. I think we could dig ourselves out. I'm fine. By the way, when the fireball of this exploding tanker, thanks terrorists, I would go and shoot arrows at it, but that's just me. Seems like something fun to do.
I'm just hung up on 100,000 tons. So, is that a bigger freighter than most as the big freighters go? I guess we need to wait for Gordon Lightfoot to weigh in on that in his song. But
millions of gallons of crude. Is that just normal? I'm assuming that's normal for a tanker.
I have no idea. That seems large. So yeah, it got to be bigger than most.
Hang on, let me log on to the internet and start doing internet research, and then I can tell you how many gallons.
All right, so that's the end of that chapter.
Yeah,
want to do your final reel or fanfic of this enterprise?
Yes, I do.
Yes, let's do it.
Fanfic. Real fanfic. Real fanfic. 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 Real fanfic. Real fanfic. Real.
All right. So this is going to be real or fanfic, the segment where our beloved Patreon jackals over at patreon.com/372 pages did a pretty good mailbag last week on the Patreon, where lots of people wrote in their own personal screeds, Norman Boutin-esque, outlining their own worldview.
People had thoughts and questions about this? Huh. Pretty straightforward.
It related to many people's lives in surprising ways, and people had things to fill in about previous books we've read, like Model Land is now big on TikTok, evidently, and people have read the print version of Mayor of Noobtown and outlined the ways in which it differs from the self-published version. So lots of good stuff going on. But the Patreon jackals have written either fanfic from the last 20% of Empress Theresa. How's this one going to wrap up? Or they've discovered real passages, how it actually wraps up. And you're going to try to guess which ones they are. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 1. I woke up in a hospital bed. The last time I woke up in a hospital bed was after I fell from the plane. Were the past few months just a dream? Was any of it real? Theresa, I am honored to meet you and glad you woke up, said a doctor. I want to talk to you about your condition. Who the heck was she to think she could tell me what was happening? Where's Steve? I want to talk to Steve. Steve entered the room and hugged me. I knew he would tell me the truth. When I saw the tears in his eyes, I knew the truth would be bad. With all the amazing things you've done for the planet, you've been pushing Hal too hard. It's affecting you, physically. What? If you don't stop using Hal, you will die. But there's so much more I need to do. Am I supposed to just, I don't know, stop? Or transfer Hal to someone else, he whispered. Who would be willing to take on such a burden, I wondered. To save your life, I would. I would do anything. Steve cried harder. Even the doctor was crying now.
Wow. I want Steve to have, I guess, absolute power, which means raising land bridges.
Raising off-track betting parlors.
Yeah. I would raise a bridge like between the cooler and the refrigerator, and then I wouldn't have to load. Like, you can already walk there. Oh, right.
I'd raise a bridge into the girls' locker room.
I think that's fanfic. Although I do like the concept of it was all a dream.
Sure.
I've never thought about that, I guess.
Yeah. She wakes up and the fox is just sort of pawing her.
Yes.
Number 2. An official on the stage said, "The Winter Olympics have been canceled for lack of snow. We will reschedule them for 2 years from now to coincide with the Summer Games year as in the 20th century. But none of the old venues can be used and there's no time to build facilities for indoor sports. We need a new mountain near a big city with indoor facilities already in place and lots of fresh water to make 10 feet of snow in a hurry." "Where's that?" Steve asked. "In Lake Michigan, close to Chicago." Me and Steve expressed our surprise. Was this guy nuts? I couldn't move that much rock around Lake Michigan without causing an earthquake. People will ask for what they know you can't give, hoping you'll give them more than they deserve. "Impossible," I said, loud enough to be heard in the silent room. That was the wrong word to use. Steve stared back at me for 2 minutes while everybody patiently waited.
I do like the inclusion of a long period. And I do like the idea that, what is it, a place near Chicago has all the buildings where if you just like raise a mountain up?
Yeah, a bobsled track, skeleton.
I think it's fanfic.
Okay. You don't think the Winter Olympics play a big role in the let's find 20%. Number 3. Nobody had been allowed to get close enough to the ship to get a look inside. Some movement was seen. Steve and I walked out with a crowd of what looked like 10-year-old children. The crowd roared in delight. The line of 10-year-olds coming out the doors behind us was endless. There were 100 of them in sight, and still they were coming out. I smiled proudly. Steve maintained his cool, as did the children, who looked out casually at the crowd. They didn't act like 10-year-olds, but neither were they adults. I'd kept them in a pre-puberty state so they wouldn't fool around with each other. They didn't mind. All of life's experiences in the ordinary world were still ahead of them. 200 children were visible. They wore multicolored armbands on their left arms. Red, green, blue, yellow, purple, and black stripes of various widths and arrangements signaled in which areas the children were most expert. The boys looked like Steve and the girls like me. They all had my nearly black, very dark brown hair. 300 children were outside. Millions of mothers throughout the world squealed in excitement or cried happily at my experience. The imperial couple was getting close to the Capitol steps. The last of the children left the door. There were 420 of them, most of them twins and triplets. We walked up the steps to the hastily assembled temporary wooden platform. President Stinson stood at one microphone, and we walked to another 10 feet away. Steve went up to the microphone first and stood with his hands on his hips, proudly standing erect like he'd done it all. It was very funny.
Wow. I have to say, going castrati on a bunch of people, making them wear armbands.
Hey,
I don't know that
where's
that's
the flaws?
That's never turned out badly before. I'll say real because I hope it is.
Wow. Number 4, having a general idea of where to look, I could find an archaeological treasure in minutes that would take an archaeologist years to find. I found some things in my spare time. They would blow people's socks off. One day, while I was programming Hal to find weapons, Steve walked into a Yeshiva University Jewish Studies department with a large cardboard box. He put it on a table. Professors quickly filled the room. Steve had previously separated the sides of the box and taped them together. Now he slit the tape to let the sides fall and expose what made the professors hold their breath. It was a scroll, obviously very old and crumbling. It was still in fair shape. "What is this, gentlemen?" asked Steve. The scholars examined the treasure for an hour while Steve wandered around the campus. He returned and they gave him their assessment. It's an ancient Hebrew copy of Leviticus. The script makes us believe it dates from the Babylonian captivity period. That would make it the oldest document ever found. Where did you get this? Steve only smiled and said, "Theresa will want it back sometime." He walked out. The Jewish world went nuts.
Again, I'm going to say it's real because I want this guy to be dabbling in things
Biblical,
that are way
apocrypha.
beyond this.
It's funny to think that, like, after all we've read, that it could still go off the rails in the final section, and yet here we are.
And then he made
5.
a box with the oldest scroll in the world and slit the sides of it, and a scroll like fell out, like something that should be handled with microscopic precision.
Right, wow. And in a like hyperbaric chamber that has been, vacuum sealed. Anyway, number 5.
Okay.
We still don't understand exactly what the purpose is, but it is clear that some kind of internal logic dictates how Hal responds. Professor McLeod scowled and finally responded, "It sounds like you're describing a computer. Not a computer, but the software running on a computer." You're saying Hal is a computer program? Does that mean you are the computer? Beep, beep, boop. Professor McLeod laughed so hard at my joke that he began to wheeze a little bit. When he had recovered, he leaned forward in his chair to ask, "Who wrote the program?" I could sense the old Scotsman was beginning to understand now. I said, there are 2 ways to answer your question. One is to suppose such living programs are the natural population in parts of the universe where dark matter and dark energy are dominant. You don't sound convinced of that theory. It's just a more complicated way of stating the obvious answer. Obvious answer? God wrote Hal.
I mean, that kind of tracks. Is the Scottish professor MacLeod, how are you spelling that?
Macleod.
Okay. All right. That tracks with the Scottish spelling. I thought it would be like the TV cowboy detective from the 1970s. MacLeod.
McCloud?
Yes. Okay. It's so, I don't know, real.
Okay. All right, let's see how you did. Let's see which of these big ideas are actually going to be covered next time. Number 1, waking up in a hospital bed, it was all a dream. Steve will assume the burden. You said fanfic. That was fanfic, written by Harris. Okay. Number 2 was the Winter Olympics are being canceled, but he's going to maybe build a new venue in Chicago. You said fanfic, but that is real, submitted by Hayden. So we have that to look forward to. The International Olympic Committee playing a role in the final 20%. Number 3, number 3 was the hundreds of children with armbands and in sustained puberty or lack of puberty. You said real, and that is real from later in the book. Yes. Submitted by Jens. Jens said that they intentionally waited till this last one to submit this just to not ruin the fact that this was coming.
That's very kind.
Yeah. Oh man, if we, it would have changed a lot knowing that was something that's going to happen. I can't wait to see how that rears its head. So you're 2 for 3. Yeah. Number 4 was the Steve. With the box that contains ancient scrolls from the Babylonian period. Yeah. You said real. That also is real. Submitted by Chap. I like that Steve taped the box up to do that. He broke down the box, taped it back up just so he could do that.
Oh crap! The scroll crumbled into dust. Oh man.
So 3 for 4, and then the last one was Professor McLeod laughing at her theory when she says beep beep boop. You said real for that, but that was fanfic written by Chap. So 3 for 5, all in all, a pretty good showing. It's good considering how nuts things have gotten.
I think that's real. Well, he nailed the level of humor in this book. So
yes, exactly. Laughing at her quote joke.
Yes.
All right, let's get back to the book, chapter 21.
Chapter 21. This starts with one of my favorite things that bad authors do. So the Exxon Maria sunk, it shows. Then the Anderson video was shown, and the world knew this had been a terrorist bombing. I just like when things are backfilled. Like, call it the Anderson video. It would be like leading, the whole every Kennedy conspiracy and going, the Zapruder section of film. What's the Zapruder? I'm glad you asked.
Yes.
And then, of course, the Anderson thing happens right away. But why do you have to lead? Just tell the story and then say it came to be known as the Anderson video or something.
Sure.
If you're obsessed with that kind of crap, you shouldn't do it at all. But I'm just saying.
Sure. And when was the last time there's one of those type of videos, and it is the Zapruder Kennedy one. Like, there's any citizen on the street video has never been ascribed to. I guess it would be ascribed to their online handle. The Fartball 69 video was shown. Yes. But yeah, so Anderson is mentioned twice, Anderson video, and then 2 sentences later when it says Michael Anderson steered his pleasure boat to intercept them. Hope you like the term pleasure boat. Hope it doesn't revolt you, because you're going to get a healthy dose of it in this chapter.
And that is Al Qaeda, by the way, that does that. The bomb.
Okay, it was Al Qaeda that
Yes.
blew up the boat.
Yes.
Got it. It says they bought the boat from an American millionaire. Somehow, they smuggled tons of explosives into the country and loaded it on the boat. So that paints a rich picture of this activity. Mm-hmm. Somehow. And essentially, she sees people in the OPEC countries celebrating this in the streets, I guess, because she's pretty much declared war on their countries. And so she's so upset by this lack of humanity that she declares she wants to go home. Steve says you can't do that. Unclear about still why she has to be in the Parker's house,
But Mrs. Parker comes in. She's all upset because these people died, 27 people, according to the Gordon Lightfoot song. And Mrs. Parker, gives her a hug and says, and I assume that the voice is Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't know if that's right.
Sure.
You poor dear, you share the lot of all women. We worry about those we are responsible for. We hope the world will treat them well. We send us anyway. So that keeps her pecker up, as they say in the UK. Good show, and she's declaring war on OPEC, right? And then she says, "It's time to get to work. Are we going to the mattresses?" She's an 18-year-old college student who loves to quote Godfather movies.
Oh, that's what it's from? Wow, very nice.
I believe so.
Wow.
1973, I believe, was when that phrase was.
Yeah, I would have said it could have been gym teacher from the 60s speak too. I like that Mrs. Parker in her speech says, "We send our sons to war and pray they come back. We see our daughters marry strangers." What's going on in your family? You just, daughter walks in, "Hey, met this guy in the subway. I'm going to marry him."
Well, maybe the Parker family had to make some sort of alliance to, I don't know, stay out of World War I or something.
Secure their, part of the gentry or something.
Yeah, their peerage rights had to be sustained. Yeah. Our house is rather fading at this point. I think a marriage to the Stinson house. President Stinson, I assume, comes from that stock.
There was a big monologue in the Barbie movie that America Ferrera gave about, the lot of women that was people found moving. And this doesn't exactly live up to those standards there of Mrs. Parker delivering her big chin-up speech. Mm-hmm. So the Israel evacuation looms large. She's crying. She wants to go home, but then they set up more of the war room in the Parker's living room. And Steve quips, "The room looks like a yard sale," quipped Steve. "Yeah, well, wait till they see what we're selling." I had quickly recovered from the tanker disaster. Good. I bet those 27 families are appreciative of how quickly you've moved on.
It's great. They go why are they crashing here? Just because PM Blair said, "I got these friends"? Yeah. There's no reason. But anyway, they say to the Parkers, "Hey, we got to set up this war room." She says, "We have folding tables in the lower floor for lawn parties. We'll get them." I mean, they really haven't had much call for lawn parties since the thousands of soldiers took over their lawn.
Lawns are not in great shape. The soldiers have really.
Yeah, we used to play croquet with the the other rich families in the area. We don't do that so much anymore.
They don't invite us places anymore. Soldiers have ruined our topiary hedge maze. So the evacuation of Israel is going to take place. Steve announces this by walking to the phone and picking it up and saying, "Get me the BBC." And I just deeply appreciate that Steve is able to do that to get me the Prime Minister. Is there not a dial tone?
The follow-up to that is some BBC official answered. I mean, I assume unless he misdialed. we're
sure. But yeah, does the operator know that they need to connect him to the president of the BBC? Or is it like the person that you're calling and you're like, I didn't care for that program you showed. They used a curse word on it and I didn't like to hear that. Like, yes, ma'am, we'll take that down.
I think it's like I told you once that I, prank phone call or whatever, like you're in your dorm room and like, let's call Bozo the Clown. So I called information in Chicago, and I was like, I'd like to speak to Bozo the Clown. And the woman was like, Bozo? You mean Bob, whatever, the well-known guy who plays Bozo? I'm like, yeah, him. I was like, okay, hang on, I'll connect you. So a dude answers the phone, and it was Bozo the Clown. So it actually worked. So
I'm
then
sorry,
you're just
sir,
like, I'm sorry, it was a prank. It's obviously gone wrong.
Really did not expect this to go off as seamlessly as it did, and I had nothing prepared for this eventuality. Oh, well, I hope you are having a good day,
Well,
son.
have a fine day then, you and your chaps at college. I hope you're learning it. Yes, thank you, sir.
Study hard.
Goodbye, Mr. Bozo, sir.
Honk, honk. Yeah, I mean, Steve's like, wow, I can just do that? Get me Shannon Elizabeth. There we go. Amazing.
Yes.
She raises two enormous walls of water on either side of the land bridge, to which Prime Minister Scherzer calls her the right hand of God, which she calls a soon-to-be famous comment. So who knows if that pays off later.
I mean, there might be some who find the Moses thing a little offensive, raising the walls of water and crossing the land and then saying that Theresa's the right hand of God. There might be a few people, but, look at the picture, pull up the picture of Martin Bouton and go, it's fine for him. He could do it. That's fine.
Sure, yes. Again, there is absolutely no reason to think that more than 3 people would have ever read this. Like if this had been written 30 years ago, that would have been the case. So it's a
right.
But she does say, she does this to prevent terrorists from getting onto the bridge from the sides. This was the reason I raised the water, but people suspected there was a little showboating in me too. Can we say Exodus? Oh, I'm surprised she didn't just attribute it to the movie, the Ten Commandments, the Charlton Heston movie.
It is true. And then there's no mention also, by the way, of like Palestinians who live. There's many, many Palestinians who live in Israel. So like,
sure.
What's happening there? Like,
it is a simplistic understanding of the issue, I would say.
She says, they owed me their lives. Whatever the Empress wanted, I'd get. Begin the evacuation, Scherzer declared. So that's how you start. Just like Israel. Did he drop like pamphlets? Like how did they reverse 911 calls?
People. Move it or lose it.
Oh, but we have a giant home that we spent many years building. Like, look at this face. Yeah. Does it look like I give?
And to reiterate, the reason we're attached to this particular, parcel of land is, there's a reason that we want to be here and not the elsewhere. But okay, you've got a gun pointed at my child's head. I guess we're going to leave.
We're going to Crete. 2 million Israelis were on the bridge. My orbital diamond ring provided plenty of light. The next day, nearly 4,500,000 Israelis were on the bridge, with another million still at home preparing to leave, and only 250,000 diehard people planning to remain behind. I didn't like the fact that they weren't all round numbers that I could easily. That seems like you're throwing quite a curve because now I've got to do addition, and it's these numbers I can't deal with.
Yeah, brother, 250,000 people, not even saying 250,000. That's not a fan.
Yeah. But anyway, they're all the diamond, the perpetual daylight is guiding. All of Israel is moving.
In between the water walls, which is they like the mist from that is getting me pretty wet as I walk with my bindle, or am I dragging a roller bag behind me? And 250,000 people are the people looking back being like, so we can just stay? I mean, do all the 250,000 have guns pointed at their children's head? Like, I think it's funny that when you think about, like, you know, if there was any situation this would happen in real time, raising the land bridge to Crete would be the easy part of this equation. And then the logistics of convincing these people to move, enforcing the move, making sure people don't die during the move, that would be the difficult part of this whole operation. The engineering of just building the bridge would be like, sure, we can do it. We just need the time and money. The other part would be like, nope, that's not going to happen. She says there had perhaps never been a more stirring sight than that in the news helicopter video shots of this immense crowd of people walking along the land bridge between the walls of water. You know, Phoebe Cates getting out of the pool. I don't know. That's pretty stirring. Kurt Gibson doing the arm pumps.
Jimmy Connor's hip thrusts.
Yeah. Pretty stirring.
So what happens? She goes back with the Navy or something?
She is, yes, talking to the president, I think, and going to go home. And this is where we get the context of the last Real or Fanfic, where they want to do a 4th of July football game between Army Navy. We're going to send you home, and then you can play in this football game on the 4th of July.
Okay, and that's going to stir the country's going to be excited about that or something?
Yes, and they want to. They say someone suggests that she travel back on the aircraft carrier Ronald Reagan, which I think is where they launched her and tried to kill her off of, and she stares at him for a minute, because she says that's a terrible idea. Like, how dare you? That's the place that tried to kill me. So
that's where the Ronald Reagan. Okay, I admit I was, once you're making a new land bridge and a new Israel on the island of Crete, you tend to miss some of the other details. But here's one that, like, why don't you expand on this? There were a couple of the sailors who unnecessarily groped at me. This had been expected, of course. I told their leader about it, and he sent them home. They were easy to replace. There were far more sailors who wanted to play than could be put on the team. And then no further details. Like, wait a minute,
none whatsoever.
What is happening?
Can you grope at someone? Like,
unnecessarily groped at me, and this was expected, of course. I guess it's kind of like in the armed forces, they always say the 10%ers. Like, no matter how many times you say a command, like 10% of people will just go, "I never heard that." So I guess it's just like, you got gropers. I mean, there's going to be a certain number of them. This is expected.
Was the tail hook scandal still weighing on Norma Bouton's mind from the mid-90s? Like,
that could be.
Yeah, I mean,
he was concerned about Senator Robert Packer, I think. Was what
did Steve sort of like lower his shades, be like, "Bro, party foul"? Like, we don't grope my babe.
She just turned 19, man.
And then it says that it's been a year since she had fallen out of the thing, had been exploded, and a Hollywood stuntman named Derek Ames is going to try to recreate the stunt and wants investors for him to jump out of a high-altitude helium balloon, but that's too expensive, so he's going to go up, eject from a fighter jet, and then try to survive the fall just like she did.
When this came up, I was like, how is anyone ever going to succeed at Real or Fanfic when all of a sudden paragraph after paragraph is spent on this Red Bull stunt? And you're like, what is the point of this? I do not understand this. But the guy who, I mean, spoiler alert, eventually dies. What's his name again?
Derek Ames.
Derek Ames. She says, she's telling him, like, hey, if you want to if you want to do this, I don't really remember a lot, but I did. I think at the last second, I covered my face like this. I demonstrated how I put my arms over my face. So to show a professional stuntman how to cover his face is
He's taking notes. Cover face.
That's a good note. Could you show me that move again? Let me see how that goes. It's like this. No. Kind of come in from the top. Wow. So I don't know. No word on whether he has Coke bottles stuffed into his suit.
She told him, you already know about the 11 Coke bottles in my jumpsuit. So it's Red Bull's like, can you substitute those Red Bull cans? We'd really like to see that. And she says this, like, which is, you can see why everyone loves her. She's a real ray of sunshine. I have nothing more to say about this crazy stunt. If you kill yourself, it's your own fault. Shame on everybody for wanting to see this spectacle. I wash my hands of it. Yes, we'll cheer her every move and hound her as paparazzi.
And once again, the biblical references, washing your hands of it. Nice. So this is funny. So he dies, right?
He does.
There were countless factors to consider. For example, if my head entered the water before my lower body, then forces along the spine would be directed harmlessly toward my feet instead of my brain. Isn't the whole point that Hal saved her from the fall?
Yes. I think
Isn't that the thing?
Yeah,
so why is she speculating about...
Why did you say you can't do this? You don't have a being from, extraterrestrial being shielding you from this.
Right. That's what, isn't that the whole point of the book? Isn't that how it starts?
Yeah, his blood is on her hands.
Yeah. And she's just
Does Eric
go ahead
Ames
with
not
that.
know that? Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was the whole thing of because then when she woke up, they stopped the wind so that would help her or something.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess the Coke bottles were just sort of disproportionately focused on, sort of like the stone in the stone soup. You ignore all the other things that the townsfolk brought to put into it, such as Hal. But I don't know. I don't know how much the rest of the world knows about Hal. I don't know if she's going out there and being like, Hal is doing this. They all think Theresa's doing this. So I don't know if, again, most people aren't paying that close attention, but.
So the world fell in love with her because she fell from the atom bomb plane and survived?
Yeah.
But they don't attribute it to anything other than, wow, that must be pretty cool. I'm going to worship this. Anyway, this made me laugh. I'll take my laughs where I can get them. I don't think it was intentional, but this is how I read it, so I'm going to just read it this way. I suggest that everybody stop trying this insane stunt. Mr. Parker was a pretty smart guy. What?
Andy Rooney.
Yes. I did not understand this at all. Then she goes on about Mr. Parker.
She goes on, yeah, I like that part. After a year in England, I developed an appreciation of English conservatism. They kept many old ways and institutions. Consider the royal family and all the rituals that go with it. What's that about? That sounded a little Steve-ish in the way I read it.
That's true. But the chapter ends with this. This is pretty good. That and my lack of problems common to people my age would make me respected, but not loved. Oh, well, it's better to be yourself than other people's fantasy. First of all, what? But secondly, lack of problems common to people my age?
Would make me respected but not loved. I mean, yeah, she's a multi-trillionaire, so that does solve a lot of your problems, I would say.
She made it, I guess, yeah, most 19-year-olds, she turned 19, by the way, in the book. She canonically is 19. I guess most people at that age, when I was 19, I think I had just gotten a lead role in Macbeth. I had not made a new Israel at that point, so that is true. It is true. She doesn't have the common problems that I had. I had dumped my old girlfriend. So that was kind of a problem. Everyone was like, "Oh no, now you two have to be in a play together." That was kind of tough. But I did not make a land bridge and have 6 million people walk 620 miles onto the island of Crete to make a new Israel.
Well, you can't beat yourself up about these things. We all know that keeping up with the Joneses is not something that's a healthy way to look at things. And
that's true.
Social media, people only post the triumphs. It's like gambling. You never hear about
true.
people's losses. You only hear about how they
exactly.
won a $20 parlay or built a land bridge to Crete. They're never going to tell you about the natural disasters they cause when they tilt the world 5 degrees off its axis.
That's true. And to be fair, I was loved, but I was not respected. So
make a good tombstone. Loved but not respected.
Yeah.
I like that the chapter also ends with her saying, "A fool like Derek Ames wouldn't understand a word of this." It's like his body's still warm. Anytime
his
a character
still crying 2 children.
Yeah, she definitely does blame you. She's going to be lurking outside your hotel with her copy of Catcher in the Rye every time because she blames you for his death. Chapter 22 is they're packing up. They're leaving. They're going back to America. They're saying goodbye to the Parkers. They've got all the plywood and mat boards in crates. The British Navy is transporting them to America. They're as dangerous as a shipment of plutonium.
And this is one of my favorite things. I don't know that this is the way you're supposed to give a gift, but this is it. Arthur, Theresa says you helped us a lot, and she wants to reward you. That's sweet. Here's $10 million. Oh,
wow.
So that is too much. Don't refuse to take it. It's nothing to Theresa. She wouldn't pick it up off the floor.
Well,
thank you.
Healthy dose of contempt along with your gift. Thank you.
She wouldn't wipe her backside with this. So you take it.
Wow. Yeah. It's a rounding error. We made that much in interest while we were talking.
A suitcase.
A suitcase full of, and then a listener, Mike, pointed out that it is full of $100 bills. So the British butler, Arthur, has been handed a pretty big conversion problem here. Like he's got an issue to deal with. Taxes, a healthy percentage goes to the money changers, probably.
You can't deposit this. Oh, can't I? No, it is illegal. We obviously can't take. Where did you get this?
Yes, it's seized as evidence in the trial of Derek Ames.
All right, I'll give you a suitcase full of hundreds if you can tell me the names of the Parker children and their ages. I'll give you a small overnight bag of bills if you can tell me their names, and if you can include the ages, then I'll give you the suitcase full of hundreds.
When their names came up, I don't have them in front of me, so I cannot, because despite the fact they've been such prominent, well-fleshed characters, I looked them up and their names have been mentioned. This is the second time they're mentioned. The first time is when we meet them, and then the second time is when they leave. So they were not big roles in this book. What are they?
17-year-old John, 13-year-old Stephanie, who could barely keep her eyes dry, and 11-year-old Jennifer, who was crying like she was losing everything she valued.
Wow. You really, I mean, maybe she's upset because Theresa's taking the chipmunks with her. There's really been no relationship established between any of these people.
I mean, they silently sat in the room while she took phone calls from the pissed off president of the United States. So there was that. And they didn't say anything, but they were all sitting there. So
maybe once she was the 13-year-old and they're crying because they realize that there is not a couple more briefcases full of $100 bills that she's handing out to them as well, and that would make me pretty upset. Arthur gets it? Really? You had to share my bathroom. I at least entitled to a briefcase full of 20s.
Yeah, I was always like using one of those things to pull your hair out of the sink because it kept clogging up.
Yeah, your
gross soapy water.
God. I walked away quickly. The Parkers and Arthur were left in mournful silence. Empress Theresa, the humble world saver and conqueror, the right hand of God, was no longer in their lives. Noticed you threw in the word humble there.
Yes.
That's, you might want to look that one up.
The humble right hand of God.
Make it also a good tombstone etching.
So this is an odd... why do I say that something's odd? It's in this book.
Sure.
Of course it's odd.
Yeah.
She describes at length the plane that they're on as they go over the Atlantic towards New York City. There were 2 aisles. I think we've probably all been on planes where there were 2 aisles.
Sure.
But then everyone falls to the floor. Everyone collapsed, and Steve was unconscious too. I felt his carotid and found no pulse. I was terrified that he was dead, but a slight hope kept me from panicking. They'd once thought I was dead for 2 weeks. I was in what we were calling deep sleep. Could Steve only be in the deep sleep? The thought kept me from losing it. But I was still scared for him. So wait a minute. Again, didn't the fox power keep her alive?
Yeah, wow. And it's clearly intervening here too. So, nothing you're doing has any actual analog that anyone else can relate to. So you think you learned to suppress your panic at this point in time.
Did I tell? This reminded me, by the way. I don't know if I ever told this on the, but I don't know, 2 years ago or something. Bridget and I were on a plane, and it lost oxygen, and the oxygen masks wouldn't drop. Mm-hmm. And I only knew this because I was up front, and the flight attendants were talking about it in like whispers that I could hear. Like, and the one is going, "I've never heard of anything like this. What are we going to do?" Like it was a true event. And everyone passed out because there was no oxygen. But for some reason, I was just awake, and I saw everyone was asleep. And I was probably because the flight attendants were like, "I don't know. It's like, this is really bad. This is so bad." And then they come online and they go, "Could everyone close their windows, their window shades, because the pilot was going to do a maneuver that took us down to where there's oxygen." So we were at 35,000 feet or whatever. And then he just went into a dive, and they didn't want to panic the people on the plane with showing us, like you could see the clouds and see that
the clouds are now at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, so we went into a steep dive, and then got down to where there was oxygen, and then they're like, and then the pilot came on. A bit of an incident there, folks. The oxygen didn't.
Wow.
And I heard the flight attendants going like, "I've never even heard of this. I've never been in an incident like this. We were so close to death." And I think, they gave me a certificate for a sandwich or something as we got off the plane.
Yeah, this expired before I landed. You'll take it and like it.
But anyway, everyone passing out reminded me of that. And like for some reason, I just stayed awake.
Would it have been more concerning if the flight attendant was like, "I've never seen anything like this. This is as bad as it's ever been. We might be in serious trouble." Or if the flight attendant would be like, "This kind of reminds me of something from Empress Theresa." Maybe the last one would be more off-putting,
Then
I would say.
Be like, yeah. Yeah, so anyway, everyone was in a deep sleep, but we all came back to life. No one died, by the way. So
sure, good. Which is a spoiler. What happens here? Everyone's passed out. They are flying her back commercial, which I thought was kind of odd. But she remembers something Steve said a few months back. He was talking about the deep sleep Hal put me in. He put dark matter in you to hold your atom nuclei in place by gravity. But this wouldn't work if electrons could move around. You would turn to soup. There was enough dark matter to keep the electrons from wandering around. She remembered Steve saying that. Sure. That sounds like something he would probably have said and been correct about.
And then so there's only one way to go, of course. I made an accusing look up to heaven again, much longer, this time to show him how mad I was. I had reached the end of my patience and let him have it. Wow. What's the purpose of this trial? Does it have a point? Didn't I prove my courage in the South Atlantic last year? What more do you want from me? I mean, not exactly like Book of Job or, Moses or anything like that.
How did she prove her courage in the South Atlantic? By floating with the Coke bottles? Like, courage.
I think that's what she means, yes.
Okay, yeah. But so I don't know if she's yelling at God or Hal or some combination of the two, but...
she's looking up to heaven, and she's letting him have it. I think him is God. I don't know.
Okay.
In Norman Bouton's world, I think.
For someone who lived on a palatial British country estate for the past year and is a multi-trillionaire, she doesn't respond to adversity well if she just lashes out at God the first time that any sort of setback occurs. Like, you've had it pretty good, 19-year-old trillionaire. So she goes up to the cockpit where the pilots are, of course, passed out. She has to deal with a whole series of things. She looks at the manual and she's like, "This is impenetrable jargon if you haven't been to flight school." And yet, she has a pretty good preternatural sense of how to fly a 747, and
a plane
is able to.
She doesn't really get guidance because a plane pulls up next to her, right?
A fighter jet.
Yeah, because the PM Blair, Peter Blair, says, hey, track that plane. Theresa's on it. She's got the Fox power. So she waves to the plane and went back to the technical manuals. So what's the plane doing there? What is this? So she just like flips it off and is like, "That's fine. I'll just take the manual." There's a guy like, "Pick up your radio. I will tell you how to run a." Nope. No, I'm good. I'll just thumb through this manual.
Steve wakes up and makes the Mack truck honk honk gesture at it. Like, "No, Steve, that's for an 18-wheeler. That's not how these work." So she does sort of like manage to grip the controls and fly it. I was reminded of the rehearsal with Nathan Fielder, which is a high recommendation if you're able to do that, to watch that. But then you got this little detail as she's in a panic, taking control of the plane. She doesn't know how to fly, but she looks out and she sees a lot of boats, where she sees a cruise ship with 2,000 or 3,000 people on board. Where were they going? They had to be wondering the same thing about me. They could not fail to know those 2 planes overhead were my lead plane and my own plane. Safe on their ship, most of them must have pitied me and my fellow passengers. But maybe a few of them were envious. When their cruise was over, what would be worth remembering about it other than seeing me fly overhead? An owner of a popular magazine had recently died. He was a bon vivant who had many interesting experiences besides his magazines. The next issue showed a picture of him on one of his adventures. The caption read, "While alive, he lived." I'll bet there were people on that ship who would gladly trade places with me now, even if it meant this was their last day. Sorry, folks, I wouldn't trade with you. So just a nice condemning these quiet lives of people on this ship going about their day, just trying to take a vacation, being like worthless lives.
Yeah, you think you're having fun. You so want to be me. Who was the year, I was trying to think of, given the year, who was the person who had like, I'm assuming he's talking kind of like Virgin Airlines kind of, what's his name?
Richard Branson?
Yeah, the blonde Australian, but he's alive, right?
Yeah. Oh, who this guy might be?
Who he's actually
bon
talking
vivant?
about? Who died? Yes, who ran
That's a good
magazines
question.
and stuff like that. Anyway, she says this during this. I took a break and remembered that dramatic scene in the movie where Charles Lindbergh landed in Paris and 200,000 people pushed down the fences to run to his plane. What movie is she talking about?
What? Did you remember that happening in real life? Like, I guess you can't remember that because you didn't see it, but that's a historical event, correct?
Did Jimmy Stewart play him in a movie? Is that what she's talking about? I never saw it. I think he did. I don't know. Anyway, took a break to remember a piece of a movie. When did you see that? You're 19. Whatever.
Oh, you don't want me. That's not in my plane. It's in Jerry's plane and Steve's plane.
These French seem pretty excited. Well, you're crazy, and you're driving me crazy, too.
Steve's making violent love to me, Mother. She claims that millions of pleasure boats have flocked to the harbors and oceans around New York to see her plane go above. Millions. So that's another. They're all aware this is her plane, and so they're coming to see her. And this was 2014, so I think that's 5 years after Captain Sully's dramatic landing on the Hudson. They want her to land on the water as opposed to the LaGuardia or JFK Airport in New York. But she doesn't want to do that. Yes. She knows that she's now skilled enough to do the actual runway landing. And so she goes rogue and says, "I'm going to the airport. They can go to hell." And I'm pretty sure that there are, passed out. I mean, obviously the flight attendants are civilians. I think there's other people on the flight though that were just because they were doing the drink service. So they were just families are traveling back from spring break to London. So all sorts of innocent people on this plane that she's going to now try to crash land on a New York airport. It says, for what seemed like an eternity, I passed over the buildings of Manhattan, probably blowing out a million windows. All the time I thought, what a disaster it would be if I crashed this gigantic plane among those buildings. It would be worse than 9/11. It would take months to clean the mess. So maybe don't say, go to hell. I'm not going to land on the water. If you're going to, your first thought immediately following that is, whoa, this will be worse than 9/11 if I screw this up.
I found this whole thing bizarre. Is like I'm reading this and it's page after page after page. Like, what is the point of this? And there is no point. But you know how the Red Bull stunt is like, that's like 3 pages or whatever. And you're like, what am I supposed to be taking away from this? This one, even less point to it, but it's so long and detailed. Compass points, how she's going, where the lead plane is to her, how she's going to land, how the landing gear comes out, how the indicator lights are working. Like, what? Was this guy a pilot, this Norman Boutin or something? And suddenly, like, I'm gonna hit him with a little knowledge here. Like, why are we reading this? What is the point?
I'd say it's more likely that he was banned from the local flight school after a 3rd session or something. What's he doing in the simulator? Oh, God, that's Bhutan. He's got to put his picture up. He can't be in there.
But anyway, it just goes on and on and on and on. This landing.
So to what end? Does she crash into an enormous building and have a worse than 9/11 situation? Of course not. She is able to successfully land the plane and avoid what he describes as it was the Hindenburg disaster multiplied 100 times. So I don't know where that rates in terms of worse than 9/11. Hindenburg. 9/11, Hindenburg 100 times. I'm not sure how many people died of the Hindenburg. So,
not that many people died in the Hindenburg, as it turns out. Okay.
Yeah, but times 100, though.
They were very close to the ground, and they scuttled down in ropes and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
there was people on it that didn't die.
Oh yeah. No, I think most people survived the Hindenburg because the giant balloon lit up, but I think it didn't get to the actual compartment until later.
Got
it.
Huh.
I don't know. When I reported on it, I cried and I got fired for it. So I don't know.
The humanity guy's a bit of a drama queen then.
Yeah, he is. Oh, the humanity. You're fired. Oh, what?
When she lands the plane, she sees people rushing towards the plane. I can do anything, I said out loud to myself. A few hours earlier, I was ready to give up and wait for death. And it does seem like something that she actually did here. No sense of whether Hal has given her the ability to do this. So making it unique amongst all her other feats that she's done, raising land masses and such.
Right. But then she has all these questions, which I do not understand what the point of this. Why did everybody on the plane go to sleep? How much did I know about flying? What did I do with my time during the crossing over the Atlantic? Why did I refuse to land on water? Why did I try to land at the airport a second time? Why are we talking about this at all? What does it have to do with anything?
We're doing a post-game press conference here? Like, you refused to land on water because you called people fools and said they could go to hell. That's the answer there.
Yeah, you've already threatened the world. Isn't this like, what do you care about a plane load of people? Just kill them all.
Well, everyone comes to praise her, and the captain says it's a miracle, and it's amazing that you could do this. Steve says, what kind of mess are you talking about? Well, thousands of windows are broken, and some people are injured. Well, Theresa's not responsible. She cannot be held responsible. I don't know who will take the fall. Nobody looks responsible to me. So it's always good when someone's running in and immediately denying responsibility when a big act like that has happened. It's always a good look.
And I guess... well, here's the point, I guess, is that the NTSB will want to know that the manuals for plane flying are a little too technical. So there needs to be like a simple one for when this happens again. And they go, okay, that sounds good. Sorry, we'll let the NTSB know that.
Yeah, we're going to make an infographic here. Like, what does he think that how much you could dumb this down so that anyone could just walk into a cockpit and land a plane?
Yeah, I assume a laminated sheet, on the wall,
Right.
kind of in the break room, like you have rights, and then next to it is a laminated sheet, how to fly a 747.
Like it's an Airbnb checkout policy.
Right.
Yeah, it is a lengthy sequence with absolutely nothing that you. I guess it's the action sequence of his movie, perhaps, but
But it was boring as hell. It wasn't action. It was just like, what? Everybody passes
she's
out.
reading manuals for long parts of it.
Also, probably pretty embarrassing for that guy who was going to take a dump on the drink cart and then passed out in the middle of that. And then he woke up like, oh.
He wakes up slightly hunched over. Just going about my business. Oh, all right. Chapter 23 is the final chapter of this section. It begins with her reuniting with her mom. So they've been missing for at least a year. She's had, an eventful year. We met and hugged. There were the typical comments of missing each other and how are you? All right. Sounds like you really just really had an emotional moment. I observed that mom appeared to be mentally sharp. Like, you're 19. Your mom is probably late 40s, like early 50s. I would hope so.
So this is reuniting after, everything that's happened. Tried to blow her up with an atom bomb. She tilted the earth and everything. Dad hugged his daughter in turn. He and Steve shook hands. Wow. What is
Good to
her...
see you.
I forget what her maiden name is, so I forget what his name is, the dad.
Oh, yeah. I remember their name.
But I'm sure Steve had...
Sullivan.
Oh, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so Steve then was like, Sully, how's it hanging, man?
Steve
Sweet.
called my dad man, yeah. Hey, I've got $1 trillion in my name, so I think I'm going to call the shots now. It says, our cross-Atlantic plane flight came up. I would hope so. I would hope you might discuss that with your parents. And it says that there was a raging controversy because this was the plan that some brain trust came up with. Some people had wanted to lower a telephone on a cable next to the cockpit on the chance I would figure out how to open the pilot side window, which can be done at low altitudes. But other people said the telephone will be wildly whipping around in the wind and I might be knocked out or I might fall out of the window reaching for the phone. So that was what the cabinet, the president's crisis room. What, like something from a Tom and Jerry cartoon of like knocking on and doing this, roll the window down gesture, a phone lowers, and it's.
I like that it was a raging controversy. So that's what made the papers anyway. Is about I heard there was a raging controversy. I think we should dangle the phone down.
Yes, the transportation secretary came to blows with the commerce secretary over PhoneGate, not over who's going to pay for these thousands of broken windows.
This is when this came up. He was talking about this, the criticism of her, and I wondered about the author, Mr. Bouton, like which forum he was on where he got criticism. Because what about everything I had already done? The few people who suggested this stupid idea were getting a lot of criticism. So you could just see this Norman Bouton going online and like, okay, this guy's being ratioed for that bullshit. This guy criticize my book, will you?
Yeah, that's the thing about critics and online. She was bullied online. People have mentioned that there are things in this that have been edited.
Yes.
Like this is a living document, so to speak. And so I think a lot of these things about people with suggesting stupid ideas and being bullied and ratioed are probably added in after the fact.
People are stupid. I think that's my takeaway from the whole book is that people are stupid. And deserve death. That's the other thing. A lot of them deserve.
Sure, yeah. If I was in charge, sure. Mm-hmm. That brings us to the Army-Navy football game, which, like the ambassador predicted, it was bigger than the Super Bowl. The whole world was interested. It's taking place on the 4th of July, so 4th of July parades were canceled. All the networks were free to televise it. And again, just like you said about the absolutely unnecessary details, we get weird revisions to the sport of football rules for no apparent reason. It was an unusual game. First of all, nobody wanted to see this game won by field goals and extra points. It was agreed that scoring would be touchdowns all.
That was so bizarre. It's like, so the people in Vegas, like, I've already bet on the game. And so what? No. See, now you're going to have to change your bet because
this dramatically affects the over-under and the spread.
Yes.
Is that just a personal gripe? Like he's one of those guys that sits there and is always like, you know what? If they got rid of the kicking, this would be a lot better. Like, oh God, Norman's
he
talking
must
again.
Be.
Yeah,
he's like going on about soccer. He hates soccer probably because 1 point here, 1 point there. What's the point?
Yeah, it could end in a tie. And so they also say that Army and Navy famously have football teams that famously play an annual game. None of those players are going to be participating. They have other people from the Army and Navy academies who are going to be coached by the actual football teams. Every player would have his own personal coach who knew how to play his position. I'm not exactly sure why they're doing that.
I didn't understand that. The two academies agreed that they could have their regular teams at the sidelines coaching the amateur players. Were there some people who are like, no, I don't want to coach. I'm a player. Like,
yeah,
I'll just take the day off and also go to hell. What?
Yeah. My like NIL deal really sort of depends on my doing this. This is how I'm going to be noticed by scouts. It's the biggest game I'll have ever played.
And it was tagged Rednecks versus the Cream of Society. That's Army versus Navy is Rednecks. Who's which?
Which is which? Yeah.
I don't understand. Underdogs versus the elite?
Whichever. I mean, does the absence of Theresa on your team thereby make you rednecks?
I don't know. I didn't understand that. I'm sorry. If anyone knows what he's talking about, please let us know.
Okay, so the Navy's Ronald Reagan team was drawn from all walks of life, but they had my throwing arm. The Army team was all disciplined cadets, but their quarterback couldn't hit a stop sign at 50 yards like I could. So maybe we've read it wrong. No, it says the two academies agreed that both the Army and Navy team will be made up of amateurs. So they just have her as the quarterback.
So anyway. Yeah, so I guess it's explaining it after the fact that they were, since the Ronald Reagan team was drawn from all walks of life.
The important thing is the game is a thrilling endeavor. It's described in great detail. I'm sorry. It's actually, this is how it plays out. Army won 48-36. Oh, well, at least people could see the game wasn't rigged to let me win. So they've built it up. They mentioned it several chapters ago. They describe insane rule changes, and then they do not describe a single second of the game. And her team loses. It's it's infuriating, but it's also fascinating that to make these decisions the way he does.
And and it gets a nickname like the tennis matches, the battle of the sexes and stuff like that, and. A pro plays, a pro woman plays whatever, like, oh, wow, this is going to be exciting. And then just like, oh, well, we lost.
Guess I'm not perfect at everything. Doesn't even describe, how many interceptions did she throw? Wow. I had to check and make sure 48 was divisible by 6. It is, unfortunately. That would be a shame.
So then she goes, her parents leave. So I get no word on whether they had a good time at the Army-Navy game or not.
I just pictured come. What about her?
Dad just like digging into a big helmet of nachos or something like that.
Go Navy! Theresa's on Army. Oh yeah, good Army.
That's my girl. Whatever. I don't know. So they went back to Massachusetts, and then we went upstairs to talk to my financial manager, Jan Struthers, who directed my oil, gold, silver, and base metal businesses. I don't know why that made me laugh that Jan Struthers is up there like, she's got the 3 phones. Like, can you hold for a second? Yes, Prime Minister, hang on, hold on for 1 second.
A banker's visor, I hope, too, like cranking an adding machine. Yeah, and she says, I had brought down 1 billion tons of rust-proof nickel, which had lots of uses. So just Jan Struthers, going toe-to-toe with the OPEC cartel. And then she's like, oh, hey, Jan, I just dropped 1 billion tons of rust-proof nickel into Pine Barrens in New Jersey. Figure it out. Oh, God.
I think the market has to decide. Hey, no, I held up 10 fingers, so I think you know what to do. Okay.
Jan wants her to buy Boeing, Ford, GE, U.S. Steel, and Nucor Steel. And all those CEOs are there to talk with Theresa. And Steve is like, not so fast.
Yes.
Because he sort of wanted to make like a big, her own monopoly of all these countries. And Steve is like, that would lead to a global trade war. And there's sort of this like tisk Jan being like, you should have anticipated this, Jan. Like,
I like that Jan Struthers, who, what did she do? She watched her for the first 10 years of her life or whatever?
Yeah, like after a CIA or FBI agent, I guess.
And then she wasn't doing so well, and she was living with her...
Yeah, she was watching Channel 27, living with her elderly parents.
Yeah, so now she's got the executives of Boeing, Ford, General Electric, U.S. Steel. And like a hitchhiker, Jan crooked her thumb toward the 5 executives. Now I'm hanging out with these bozos. And they're all like, well, I wouldn't consider myself that, but I do need to make the sale of U.S. Steel. So
it's like herding cats once Nucor Steel shows up. I don't know.
Hey, those peanuts aren't for you, U.S. Steel. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Hey, take a ton of nickel on your way out. Take some nickel out of petty nickel.
So she gets an apartment
in Manhattan.
Steve, yeah. It was and they get an office building because we couldn't stay in the average apartment building. It would be too disrupting to the other tenants. Why is she suddenly concerned about people? She's blowing out windows. She's just like, listen to me or I'll put a gun to your head. I hope you all die. And now she's like, oh, I don't want to disrupt. That would be rude. So bizarre.
Yeah, I'm sure she's like buying buildings and evicting their tenants just so she can have them to herself, but she's not concerned about those people.
So she buys an office building for her and Steve to live in. Like, hey, babe, I Xeroxed my ass like 4 times already. Check it out.
Oh, Steve. Yeah. I'm going to send that to that bozo from GE. They go out and they're sort of recognized by pedestrians everywhere they go, and she just sort of like like walking past a solicitor. You're like, not acknowledging you, blah blah blah. But then there starts to be crying Asian men following her everywhere. 10 crying Asian men who are like sort of like on their hands and knees, like begging and crying at her.
This is so bizarre, and this goes on for a while. You're just like, okay, that's an odd detail. Maybe that happened to our author at some point. And then I turned around, and there they were again, the crying Asian. What is happening?
And it turns out that they are North Korean men who have escaped, and then they have a South Korean buddy who speaks English, who gives her a videotape of life in North Korea, a PBS documentary. And it shows them... I sort of remember this happening, the funeral of Kim Jong-il, where they just had sort of planted people in the streets, like, rending their garments and weeping, and just because it was sort of planted worshippers, essentially, like trying to make it look like everyone was so upset that their leader had died. Mm-hmm. And so I guess these guys are sort of doing that to her in the streets as well, to, I guess, try to enlist her aid to their hardship in North Korea.
But once again, he does the brilliant thing of they show her a tape, and then for like a couple pages he describes what's happening on the screen in the tape. So then the scene switched to a small apartment of a French team of visiting reporters. Like, what is happening? And it goes on and on. So they've convinced her to do something about the North Korean problem, I guess.
Right, which I think they start to address by Steve picking up the phone and being, "Get me the New York Times." But it's also it's a funny thing just because she considers herself very worldly, and this is he's describing her learning about this, which is something that, again, not everybody, but everybody knows that this is not a good situation in North Korea, and everyone knows that they're building nukes and have this crazy guy in charge. But for her to be like, you know what I just learned about? I just learned about this North Korea situation. Yeah, it's a bit of a pickle up there. So it's a very funny thing to describe, someone learning about that just by watching a PBS report about it all of a sudden.
And I guess that famous statement that was made is repeated here. Can the right hand of God do something in North Korea? To which the response is, God has to let evil men do what they want. I don't. And then she says, goodbye, sir. 2 words, B-Y, not bye, like goodbye.
Yes.
Goodbye, sir. For some reason,
Goodbye, sir.
That both irritated and amused me.
Yeah. Giving credit, I thought God has to let evil men do what they want. I don't was a fairly badass line, even though she's saying it to the editor of the New York Times. But that's would have been cooler if you said that right before you cocked the gun at at Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, it is a Schwarzenegger with a stub of a cigar and his covered in grime with a giant machine gun.
And then it says, it ends saying, what permitted me to mess around with North Korea? I didn't want anything for myself. Prime Minister Blair told me, half of literature shows that desire and hate go together. Somebody goes after something, can't get it by legitimate means, and turns evil. That wouldn't happen to me. All right, good.
Okay.
Well, she said it, so
asked and
give her whatever she needs. That's... Foreshadowing? Has any of this foreshadowing? Is she going to do? I mean, we know what something's going to happen. She's going to come back with 400 castrating kids wearing armbands.
And but that might be supposed to be a good thing. I mean, obviously, it's supposed to be a good thing. I don't think it's going to be. We're unveiling our new army of small us. Okay. Why aren't you rejoicing?
Slow clapping turns into coughing.
We've made an army of Oompa Loompas who shall... Okay.
What do the colors of our man mean? Silence, mortal. Yay. Just so she's moving on to North Korea, it sounds like. I feel like we glossed over it, but they said that all the people who were moving to Crete from Israel, that was only like a holding place. They were going to be going to America because they were like, yeah, most Americans have a guest home. They can let them stay there.
That's true, yes.
So that plan is still playing out, but it was dismissed as, it'll work itself out, essentially. All you have to do is convince millions of Americans to take in these people and get them there somehow. Problem solved until her island is complete.
And there, shouldn't be any problems of complaining with the people who, have to stay in like the pig barn of some guy in Oklahoma, as opposed to the other people who are like, yeah, my wife moved out. I've got 10,000 square feet here. You're welcome to just roam around and do whatever.
We don't get out to our Hamptons place often, so you can probably fit 8 or 9 people there. I'm in the Unabomber's cabin. Come on, he's still here. Jeez.
Oh wow, that is
delightful. And
utter insanity.
And nothing makes me happier than just, seeing where that is. And it's like watching the last scene of a movie and be like, how are we going to get there? And we don't have that much further to go. So those kids are going to have to be created pretty quickly.
Well, the thing about this book is you read something like, okay, she's on a plane. Everyone passes out on the plane. Like, okay, that could just be one sentence. Like, then you look down like, oh God, this is going on for 7 pages. Why? Then we passed a bunch of weeping Asian men. Like, weird, but all right. The weeping Asian men, we're back. What is happening?
Right.
So anything could happen. So these kids could just be mentioned and go away or whatever. Like, there's nothing has any permanence, or it does. It depends, and it doesn't. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Very true. I wonder if it's like separate writing sessions where he sat down and he's like, well, I'll do the plain part today. And then, the next day he's like, well, that's done. Let's move on to the Weeping Asians.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we should probably move on to our dumb sentences of the week.
Dumb, 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 dumb sentence of the week.
All right. These are the dumb sentences of the week. Once again, mainly by our Patreon jackals over at patreon.com/372 pages. Join us. This first one is from Anne. Nobody wanted to breathe a word against me for fear I would run amok. And she says we need to create a game of comic book supervillain quote or Empress Theresa.
There we go.
John said, other people said the telephone would be wildly whipping around in the wind and I might be knocked out or I might fall out the window reaching for the phone. Other people said that. Jay said, the program is made up of 100 of reflexes she's given to Hal, but the program isn't a reflex. I'm glad that's clarified. Eamon said an owner of a popular magazine had recently died, and he said, about half the sentences in this book make me think of Mike's sarcastic, "That's really interesting" riff from Days of Our Years. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
John submitted, the diamond ring gave off many times the light of a full moon, not enough to play a baseball game without electric lighting, but more than enough to walk around without stumbling on something. And John said, forget lumens. I think light brightness should be measured in how well you can play a baseball game to it. Chap and Leah both submitted everybody was joyful at the prospect of having 24-hour daylight. Chap said, my wife struggles to get to sleep when the neighbors across the street leave their porch light on at night. I don't think she would be the only person with more reservations than joy. Mike submitted, many Israelis, mostly the young, were determined to walk the entire distance out of some religious, historic, or personal motive. And Mike said, I think this is the various dance moves of mass exodus. Harris and Alejandro both submitted, this mess was started by the organization and you had to go along like a baseball team is expected to clear the dugout and run on the field when two players start a fight, but your heart wasn't in it. There was one of those last night at the Nats game. The announcer called it an old-fashioned Donnybrook, which I really appreciated.
Oh,
so.
I love a Donnybrook. Man, that's great.
Another Donnybrooks breaking out in the Middle East. Oh, well. Jeffrey submitted, my mood was depressed after seeing the begging Asians. He said, replace Asians with Chinese and you've got yourself a Shatlart sentence. This was interesting. This was not in a version of the book we're reading. Mandy and Brian both submitted something from this sentence that was the newspaper. This is before the football game. The newspaper had a shameless headline. Can cute quarterback coordinate chaotic club? Coaches cautious, crowd convinced. And then Theresa added, crazy cacophonous comments, crackhead, corny crap. So they submitted corny crap, and that wasn't in the one we're reading, so that must be a later revision or an earlier one. Who knows?
Wow,
they said it was from the Kindle version, but
this is George Lucas going back to his stuff here and adding
the
scenes
special
in,
edition. Yeah, but yeah, and so without that part being in ours, I feel like the spectacle of the Army-Navy substitute football game was really sort of incomplete. Oh well.
Yeah.
Theodore submitted. This is in relation to the Derek Ames asking for advice about how to survive the fall. For example, if my head entered the water before my lower brain, then forces along my spine would be directed harmlessly towards my feet instead of brain. And he said, whenever Norman wrote that sentence, he wronged the medical profession in a way that could never be undone. And yeah, it's landing head first. I don't think that just directs forces along your spine harmlessly towards your feet.
Anyone who's dove into a pool they think is deeper than it was. I don't know. Why are you getting paralyzed? That shouldn't be.
I thought you said you didn't get paralyzed. Michael submitted Army 1, 48 to 36, just because it was after spending 20 pages giving us will they or won't they. Landed a damn plane at the airport, and then he just describes this in 3 words. TM submitted, Steve said, isn't she a bitch? And she said, I don't know if... TM said, Norman said on his website that there was no foul language in the book, so he must mean female dog here, right? Kara submitted. Oh, this was another person who submitted. Everyone was joyful at the prospect of having 24-hour daylight. She said, "There's literally scientific studies about how this would make people aggressive and suicidal." Mark submitted, "Crime would go down as criminals lost the cover of darkness." And he said, "As everyone knows, crime is committed exclusively at night by people in striped shirts with black domino masks and black toques." Most burger theft is committed by people wearing that type of outfit, though. Hayden submitted, "The planes had noticed that the ground was being denuded of ice cover was sinking." And he said, "As lovely a reminder of Edison's conquest as Mars as the word denuded is, was it the planes that noticed the ground was being denuded?" He questions that. Andrew submitted, "They should have made a vigorous public education campaign to eliminate people's support of the terrorists." And Nathan said, "I could only dream of the educational shorts that could possibly come from this nonsense." Coronet, terrorists and you. Drawing terrorists for beginners, the square. Andrew submitted, "We think the first thing they will offer is to cancel your donations to the World Poor Fund." This was something from back when she was threatening OPEC, and I had no idea. I had no memory of what she had established this World Poor Fund of. And I don't know how, Andrew did not know how OPEC would cancel her donations. Again, just typing things, man. And then Janelle submitted, "Shame on everybody for wanting to watch this spectacle." And she said the same can be said for people reading this book. I had a couple. They had to be pelting her with crap over there.
Yeah.
My mood was depressed after seeing the begging Asians. Or how about this one? I don't think we mentioned this one. I went to work on the gigantic orbiting ball of diamonds.
That's not a sentence you're going to get in many books. Well, I will just go back to President Stinson calls Madam Hartley. That's again. No
President Stinson calls Madam Hartley.
It's just shouting it out in the middle of a room, like, "What, Arthur? Are you okay?"
Sorry, it's the teleprompter. It's the Ron Burgundy effect.
Yeah.
I just read what's in front of me.
Also, I was hitting the cooking sherry pretty hard in the kitchen. So.
Well, Arthur, you could afford better booze than that with that $10 million I wouldn't have even bent over to pick up. All right. Woo. Well,
all right. Yeah.
Some interesting ground to cover as we finish the book for next time. That's for sure.
What will he throw at us? I mean, we know one element, which is going to be pretty delightful, but beyond that, it could be anything. I don't know.
Do you think that she is alive at the end of the book, or has she ascended into some sort of celestial, super being? Her consciousness lives on.
Is she going to do like the Apple thing at the end of the Apple and drive away in a Cadillac?
Yeah,
as a
it could
ghost
be
or something.
Like a movie she's seen one time.
I don't know. I do think it would be funny if it was a dream.
Yeah.
That seems like something he might pull off. Like, doesn't that blow your mind? Like, I didn't want to read this anyway, and now it was all just made up. That would be too much. So I don't have any idea. I mean, hopefully she meets a talking gorilla or something. I don't know. Slap someone on a dragon. I have no idea.
Good. Oh, well, both of those would delight me, and I'm sure whatever he's got in store probably will as well. So we'll find out next time.
All right. Bye, everyone.